So hello everyone and welcome to Fintech Junction, and this is an exciting panel. I'm very, very excited to be here with such amazing founders and alumni. Good afternoon or good evening or good morning to whoever you are around the world, because we have so many of you watching us from all over the place. And of course, the Israeli fintech ecosystem is boiling as usual, and innovation is all around. And people from all around the world are coming here to hunt for innovation and for great startups, investors, mentors, corporates from around the world. My name is Hilla Ovil-Brenner. I'm the managing director at Textraz Tel Aviv. And the reason we have such great programs here in Tel Aviv is because we're taking this innovation and trying to leverage it all over the world. So very, very proud to have here with us people that represent the best of the innovation fintech ecosystem. And so that I don't make too many mistakes, I'm going to let them introduce themselves, starting with Liri Halperin, CEO of Leo.
Thank you, Hilla. Hello, my name is Liri Halperin Segal, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Leo. We are an AI SaaS solution that sits on top of the insurance companies and agencies' IT systems and provide digital transformation. In total, we've raised more than $3 million, and we work in the US market, and we were a part of the Techstars 2017. Happy to be here.
Wow, thank you so much, Liri. It's very exciting to have you with us. And of course, Omri from Lagoon.
Hi, thank you, Hilla. I'm Omri, co-founder and CEO of Lagoon. And Lagoon is a no-code data intelligence platform for professional investors in capital markets. We allow asset managers who currently rely on traditional data, such as the financial reports, news, and media, to use new sources of data that can provide the real-time information of the company, of the customers, and business. We were part of the Techstars TLV 2020 cohort, and we're now working with asset managers from the US, Singapore, and Israel. Welcome you to join us.
Thank you so much, Lagoon. It's such an important area in fintech, and so happy to have you here and hear about your success. We're going to move to Elias, CEO of Crowdsense.
Hey, Hilla. My name is Eliaz Tobias. I'm the CEO and founder of Crowdsense Ai. Crowdsense is an intelligence as a service platform that is relevant for capital markets and corporations. Our NLP-based technology detects breaking events, risks, and trends in real time from social, web, and enterprise data sources in any language. We raised almost $1 million so far, launched our beta, and signed our first 2 contracts with paying customers just last week.
Thank you so much. Crowdsense, very, very exciting. And you're part of the Barclays and Techstars Corporation here in Israel. So it's exciting to have you and hear about banking and the opportunities for other startups here. So thanks for being here with us. And we're gonna move to Daniel Gelman, an industry expert and also a mentor.
Hi, Hilla. Hi, everyone. Thank you. My name is Daniel Gelman. I'm the country manager of INVIOU Technologies. It's an Indian-based company who provides software services to Israeli companies, and not only, all over the world. We have here more than 40 companies. And I've been mentor for Techstars in 2018.
Thank you so much for being with us. It's a great success for us to have you here as a mentor. You've helped so many of our startups, and happy to have you. So Shlomo Amir, business officer at EasySend.
Hi, Hilla. Thank you for inviting me. Hello, everybody. My name is Shlomo Amir, Chief Business Officer in EasySend. What we do is we developed a no-code platform in order to enable engagement, digital engagement of customer, replacing old-fashioned paper and PDF forms and creating engaging, wonderful experience kind of business relationship with the end user. We have started our operations about 4.5 years ago. We raised $16 million so far, and we are present in Israel, Europe, and the United States. Good to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. It's super exciting to have all these innovators. So the purpose of today is actually talk about fintech and how it works. I see here there's also Dror from INVIOU. I'm sorry, Dror. Dror, Please.
Yeah, last and least.
Last, but definitely not least. So we have Dror from INVIOU. Dror.
Hi, I'm Dror Shapira from INVIOU. I'm a co-founder and CEO of INVIOU. INVIOU is a platform that increases trust across the commerce value chain and supply chain. We're providing a secure digital asset management, such as invoices, purchase orders, surety bonds, from issuance to trade. So we're enabling the financial institutions, big banks, credit insurance, with a trusted ecosystem so they can facilitate the trade, financing, and insurance for their client. It's a back-end system. We are the alumni of the last Barclays powered by Techstars cohort from 2019, together with Eliaz here on the panel, and very happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're going to start with the purpose of today's panel, which is to talk about fintech, innovation, and the exciting ecosystem here in Israel. So the first question I have is, what's so unique about the Israeli fintech? What is it that everyone is coming to see? And I want to start actually with Liri for that question.
Yeah, thank you, Hilla. So what I can say is, for a startup, Israel is a great place to start and grow your business. We have here a strong ecosystem of fintech investors, but also entrepreneurs, and everyone is very, very accessible. Also, you can see multinational companies that have scouting programs here. So for a startup, Israel can be a great place for POCs, and also to use all the data that the banks and the insurance company can offer you to train your product, and also, you know, use Israel as a beta site, exactly like we did here. So I think it's a great place for startups.
I 100% agree with you, and this is why everyone is coming here to check it out. Shlomo, do you want to maybe share some more light on that?
With pleasure. Yes, I fully agree. First of all, with Liri, the ecosystem in Israel is really great from all aspects. EasySend specifically started really as an in-house kind of project of one of the asset management firms in Israel. And the exposure to the worldwide market actually came from the Israeli ecosystems, be it VCs, be it other organizations like Techstars, that really expose this wealth of experience to the world. And riding it, we managed really to penetrate the US and the European markets. In general, I would say this is one of the advantages, funny as it sounds, being a small market. You have to expand. And in Israel, there is a lot of experience in many, many different industries to expand abroad. And this also true for the fintech.
Excellent. And I also forgot to say that if any of you want to ask the speakers some questions, there will be around the conference. And you know, today everything is virtual and very easy. So of course, it's really easy to do. So what are we actually seeing in fintech? What are the main trends we're seeing? I'm going to ask Daniel this because he's seen so many different technologies and also mentoring in so many programs. So what are the trends we actually see today?
So I must say that the trends basically is globally. I think that the markets are, we are getting more and more markets coming around, which means that looking like 2 years back, everybody was looking only to the US market and the European market as like a place to expand and to do like fintech. It was the main business. Right now, we're seeing a lot of companies going to India and going to Dubai, you know, more Eastern. Also Brazil, and for each country like that, the fintech, it's a little bit different, you know, like the finance is different, the terminology and the technology, it needs to be specific to these countries. So I see a lot of changes in that area.
That's amazing. And I can say on behalf of Textraz that we're seeing major trends in terms of education and payment tools here. So we're actually seeing the numbers in fintech and investments are going up relative to last year, which is incredible in terms of COVID. And I can say really that it's a pleasure to see the Israeli fintech ecosystem growing. This Fintech Junction is only an example of this, so we're very lucky to be here. Omri, this is a very exciting question for me because I really a great believer in leveraging our Techstars, which is the worldwide network that helps entrepreneurs succeed, really the biggest seed investor in the world today by TechCrunch. If we're looking at how Techstars helps Israeli companies, do you want to maybe share some of your experience on this?
Yes, of course. Thank you. And I totally agree that the Techstars network is one of the most important things and the most interesting things we got from the program. So we started the company this year, and the Techstars program took us from opening a startup to building a company. And the main and most important thing we had was meeting people, getting traction. It exposed us to over 50 professionals in our industry who got us excellent advice, and we got pilots and working together. And we also got very relevant customers. So I think the biggest lesson for me was how to work and talk to customers from around the world, from Singapore, Canada, US, South Africa. And right now, each customer we talk to wants to work with us, from small asset managers to asset managers we started working with just this week with over $1 billion in AUM, which is amazing for us. So it was great.
That's great. I'm so happy to hear this. And this is why the statistics also for Techstars, this was my dream when I was a young founder, to actually have someone take me by the hand and introduce me to more and more people. So then maybe I can also ask you, Eliaz, also about your experience with Techstars and maybe also about how to scale globally and connect with banks around the world.
Yeah, I'll talk about the two questions. So for us too, other than the first investment, of course, Techstars is really about the network. And in fact, many of our employees, partners, advisors, customers, and investors came either through a direct or indirect connection to someone we met through Techstars. First, we have an angel investor from Denmark that you, Hilla, if you remember, introduced us to, that decided to join the first investment. Second, we have amazing developers from India that are with us for more than a year that came through another startup from India that was with us in the program. And we're also, another example is the former chief of open source intelligence from A200, from the A200 unit that is in our advisory board. And he also came through a connection from a mentor. So other than great advice, he introduced us to one of our paying customers and to some of our investors as well. Now, the biggest lesson I've learned through the program is to value the importance of meeting people. Even if you meet someone and he may not be able to help you directly, he may know someone who can be a partner, customer, employee, or investor. So you need to be very open-minded and excited about many of the connections that came through people that we first didn't see the potential for collaboration with. Now, regarding your other question, Hilla, about the global banks, it is, for us, it is very much about finding the relevant people within the business groups that are also excited about innovation and startups. These people will act as champions within the organization. Sometimes you get lucky, like the connection I made with an emerging markets trader from HSBC in a meetup in London. But most times, especially at an early stage, it is about engaging former employees of these banks or salespeople who work with them. It is more about meeting people who know people and are interested to make the intro or are willing to do so for a small cut of the revenue.
Excellent. Can you maybe share an experience of scaling with a bank or partnering with a bank, maybe one of the challenges or anything that you'd like to share in working with big banks? Because I'm sure so many startups are watching us now and founders around the world that all want to do this. And the question is really, what advice can you give them?
So the process with the banks most likely is takes time, and you need a lot of patience. Sometimes you go through the innovation team and they need to find the people to introduce you to. Sometimes it takes time even for the product to be installed for a beta testing in the organization. So working with banks requires, how would I call it, some more patience and time. For us, we are working with banks, but we've actually started working with asset managers, smaller ones, to gain traction, and then it makes it easier to continue and work with the banks. The banks are willing and open for innovation, but usually the process there requires more patience from our experience.
That's really, really, really interesting. We're going to move to Dror. Dror, you have some main, really big players on your cap table. And I want to ask you a little bit, can you share your experience on fundraising? And then also a little bit about fundraising today and the different accelerator experience you've had.
Sure. It helps a lot to have big names or, well-recognized name on your cap tables. I think once it's a great door opener, especially to potential customers. It can be investors and potential partners as well. And secondly,
in your case, you have Nielsen on your cap table.
We have Nielsen, the Nielsen VC, the Nielsen incubator. And so I think that the second thing is that you learn to work in a more organized manner. I mean, going through the Techstars, the incubator, the accelerator is one experience. It's like a summer camp where everything is very, very intensive, and you get a lot of input in a very short time. Where you go through an incubator, it's a longer period, and you learn to work in a very organized manner. You have an active board that you have to present to, so you need to be prepared. So there's a lot of and other connections that they are making, and other startups that you work side by side with. So the overall experience is very good, very helpful, especially for early stage. Very good to take you out of the garage and get you to the real world. And it gives you all the surrounding services that a small company needs. Maybe accounting services, etc. Something that you don't want to be focusing, and you want to be focusing on your core business. So it takes that away from you and leave you with the work itself, which is great, especially for starting. For fundraising, we're actually fundraising now. Fundraising through a pandemic, very, very difficult. I can't, especially for early stage, I think, if you don't have a big VC behind you in later rounds that will support you, it's very hard to approach. So, you have to get your story properly and be very, very sharp on your story, because you have a very limited time if it's by Zoom or telephone calls, etc. But I'm an optimistic person, and I want to look at it from a different angle and say, hey, you can fundraise from your living room, which is great. You don't need to go all over the world on a roadshow. You can do it from your own living room, but if I can, be selective. Don't waste time on the wrong players or the wrong investors that are doomed not to invest in you in the first place. And I think this is something that we learned through Techstars as well.
That's amazing. Fortunately, the statistics show that nearly 90% of our companies raise while they're in program or in the first couple of months after they leave. So the statistics are amazing in that we do a lot of work relating to fundraising. We also have a lot of activities like Investor Day and things like that. And so hopefully we will get a lot more Israeli companies into our pipeline so we can help them fundraise. Thank you for that piece of advice, Dror. That's very, very, very useful. I want to ask you, Liri, Israel is a small market. You know, it's a tiny market. And you mentioned earlier that you use it as a beta to start globally and go global. There must be a lot of founders watching this that are thinking, how do we do this? Of course, through networks like us, but actually the company itself, the CEO, needs to have more exposure and actually take it global. Can you share some advice on this, a little bit of your experience?
Sure. Yeah, so before we transformed from the Israeli market to the US market, we took the time to understand better the US market and make sure that we will do the best customization that we can do to our product. So for example, we established an ambassador program. It's a group of people that are leaders in the insurance industry that worked with us and you know, shared with us the real pain points of the industry, so we can do and tailored our solution to their needs. Also, we worked on getting the right integrations to those legacy systems that our potential clients are using. And also we build our advisory board a little bit different with people from the US market that can help us to leverage our solution. So only after we did all that, we started to really sell in the US market. And I think it was worthwhile to take the time and make those changes.
That's very, very useful. A lot of startups come to me with these questions. And also, should they even start investing at all in the Israeli market because it's small, and maybe the advice you get from the Israeli market is not even relevant to the different markets. Maybe Shlomo, you can share some more advice on that, because I know you went global so well, and you're a really big success story. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about going global.
With pleasure. I should say first that we did all our product market fit proof of concept here in Israel. And before we even started approaching the international market, we had 20 customers in Israel, paying customers, big names like Menorah, Klal, Leumi, Mortgage, etc. So by the time we decided to go abroad, be it US or elsewhere, we knew we had a good platform in hand. But of course, having the right solution is only just the beginning. And here we certainly did some timing and planning. We launched our operation in the US in the ITC, the event in Las Vegas last year. This is the most important insurance technology event worldwide. Unfortunately, this year it was virtual, which was completely different, but still. And we leveraged on top of it. So gaining a lot of immediate exposure. Towards this event, we also recruited our first US-based sales manager, somebody who is coming with a very, very strong enterprise and specifically insurance industry background. And just having him around us in ITC made a big difference. He knows people, he knows the language, he knows how to talk to them, he connects in a snap. And this proved very, very beneficial, very quickly building our pipeline. And the interesting thing came that when we were just about to, to close quite a number of deals, pandemic, COVID-19 came. But this was only a temporary slowdown, and we just now see these early contacts converting into paying customers. The last thing I want to mention is really leveraging the contacts of our investors. Our first investor were a big fund here in Israel called Vertex, but even during pandemic, about 4 months ago, we closed our A round, and this was with Hanaco and with Intel Capital, and this created extra momentum, because big enterprises want to see few milestones achieved around you as a startup to feel comfortable starting to work with you. Of course, one of them is a product, but local presence and having the financing to support going global and not getting stuck in the middle. So by having all these building blocks and few others, of course, I think we created a good platform to penetrate the US markets.
That's amazing and a really big success story, like I said, for the Israeli ecosystem. So I think that's absolutely great. By the way, did you start an office in the US or did you do this all from Israel?
We have an office, but it's a virtual office. As these days, everybody have only virtual office. But we have recruited by now 5 local sales managers and inside salespeople, all based in the US, and they are spread around. So physically, we may have a office, but these days it's not really an issue. When we'll be Salesforce.com size, maybe it will, but not now, not for now.
No, and we will definitely interview you again then and ask you that again. Maybe Daniel, you see so much and you've also mentored Textraz startups in 2018 and were so valued by so many Textraz founders. What actually made you decide to become a mentor at Textraz, and how was your experience? Can you talk about that a little bit? And hopefully we have people watching us that will want to be mentors to our great startups. So I hope you say good things.
For sure, for sure. First of all, like Eliaz and Omri said, the Techstars gave them a lot of networking. So I think that coming from the other side, also networking, I think that the ecosystem, it's part of it. You know, as more people that you know and talk to, this is the way that you get, recognized. You can put yourself. So I think networking is the first key thing that why I came to the Techstars as a mentor. The second thing is to learn. I think that by meeting those companies, talking to them to see how they work, what they're doing, the problems that they're having. So I learned a lot from that, personally. So that's why, it's like two sides. I can give my insights and assist them to improve and scale up. And the other side, also myself, I'm getting to much more knowledge of how people think, how they are working differently, because each company work in different way. So for me, it's great experience, and that's why that I keep coming. And I think that each time I even come to more sessions, and that's it.
That's amazing. I want to just say, that it's really important. We have a give first attitude and value at Techstars. This is one of the reasons I joined Techstars after making more or less every mistake in the book as a founder. I want to just, before we end, maybe go around. You guys really represent different stages of founders and different stages of companies in fintech, but I'm seeing so much. This ecosystem is so popular internationally. Everybody's coming here to learn. So maybe just one word of advice to your fellow founders, or maybe just a word that anyone who watches you from outside of Israel into this ecosystem. Anything you want to kind of leave the audience with? I'm gonna start again with Liri. I go the same path. Liri.
Wow. So I think being accessible to other, I think this is something that is great about our industry in Israel here, that really you can speak with anyone. You can get to Waze CEO if you want and consult with him if needed. So I love that about the Israeli ecosystem, and I think everyone should be like that.
That's absolutely amazing and great. We're going to move to Shlomo. You've seen so much of this ecosystem and all the roller coaster that everybody speaks about. What is your words of wisdom to founders and mentors and corporates?
Yeah, reach out for advice and help. And in Israel, it's amazingly how people want to. Actually, they are longing to support each other, be it whatever positions they are in, and they always find the time. So this is I piggyback on what Liri said. I fully agree with that. And second, I mean, don't discount the Israeli local market at all. This is a very good a product market fit sandbox, which we leverage to the fullest. And even having, you know, it's not like big names in the world, but having major customers in Israel can help you gain your first customer, be it in the US and in Europe. And having a first is always the hardest in any territory. So I think what kind of advice I can give, don't discount the Israeli market, at least not in the beginning.
I love that you say that. I think it's excellent advice. I'm seeing a lot of companies make mistakes that way, but at the same time, I think while you're building the foundations here, you need to look up to the global world and understand, because so much different regulation happens in fintechs all around the world. And because I ran 2 programs of Barclays with Techstars, I can tell you the banks, for example, are hungry for innovation, but you need to build your product so it's a great fit. So I 100% agree with you, Shlomo. Thanks very much for that wisdom. We're going to move to Dror now. Dror, for some words of conclusion, maybe advice.
Yeah, well, Israel is a small and warm community for fintech. I think it is competitive, but friendly. So you can reach anyone, and you'll get your half an hour with anyone you want to reach, and they will be happy to assist where they can. I came across that a lot here, and this is something that I really like. Just one observation about fintech, because we're approaching the English market, and when you come as fintech, we're accustomed here that everyone doing something in the financial technology industry is called fintech. And when you go there, fintech is referred to either challenger banks or digital alternative lenders. So when we're doing a platform, so we're not lenders. So why are you fintech? So we had to explain ourselves. So just a small observation we came across globally.
There is there is a lot of translation issues, not only in terms of language, but also in terms of how we look at companies. And, you know, especially when you sign agreements with big corporates, and I can tell you banks hear something completely different than the startup. When a startup, for instance, says they're ready, their product is ready, it took me about 1.5 years to incorporate my product into a giant Pearson education from the time I thought I was ready. So there's so many translation issues, not only in how people hear things and how people react to things in Israel and abroad. I can again give the advice of actually helping and working with programs like us to kind of translate that, and maybe Nielsen, an incubator, etc. So thanks for that great piece of advice. Omri, you have some words of wisdom here?
Yes, I'll try my best. I think the biggest thing I can give you is come eager to learn, because this ecosystem is eager to teach, to give back, to support, but you need to take it. You need to want to learn. You want to talk to people, connect to people, and anyone you connect with, you get 3 more connections and 3 more connections, and some of them may be very, very powerful and very valuable for you. So do that. Eager to learn, talk to people, and connect. That's my biggest advice.
That's very, very good. Maybe also in your case, connect with people in your business, because I see that you're starting to connect with companies around the world, and you're very eager to reach and outreach to them and write to them. That's really, really good. I'm kind of surprised no one mentioned team and building teams and things like that yet, but I want to just say that in all the companies we look for balanced, diverse teams. teams that are eager to learn, but also are ambitious and honest and great and fast learning executioners. So thanks for that word of advice. We going to Eliaz, some words.
Yeah, I think there's another aspect that I've seen other than Israel being a great beta site, which I agree with all of it. I think there's another aspect that I've seen, and this is the reputation of Israel abroad. Yeah, it is, you know, like we may feel that it is a small market, very comfortable, you know, for feedback. But when you go abroad, and I've seen it from anywhere between UK, US, and Dubai, people are actually excited about the fact that you're a company from Israel, and they ask us about the experience from intelligence and Air Force and Army and all of that, because of all the innovation coming from Israel, there's like an extra layer of excitement and willingness to test your product just because it comes from Israel. You still need to prove that it delivers, but it's actually something to be proud of and not hide it when you go abroad, especially these days.
I love that. Absolutely think that's great. Startup Nation, right? That's where we are. And within Startup Nation, FinTech is definitely one of the highest layers. Everybody's looking for that. So that's great. It is very exciting. You're right. And to all of our people watching us from abroad, you're absolutely right. Startups like this is the startups we want to invest in. So Daniel, you see so much. What is your advice and mistakes that founders make all the time that you're seeing, and maybe you want to leave us with some recommendation or ask or anything?
Well, I will speak from my side, like a technology partner. So most of the founders, they are afraid to do anything without like a CTO or a technology developer that will be part of them. So I think that they don't need to be afraid. They need to find a good partner to do it. But you know, you can start without having like a CTO at start. You can start and develop, and then finding the right person later on. I think that don't be afraid of doing stuff. It's very important.
That's right. And as Israelis, we're very good with this. We're good with the chutzpah. We're good of not being afraid of failure. And I can tell you, I'm meeting founders from all around the world, and it's definitely something that I'm seeing. So it's great advice as well. I want to thank the organizers of this amazing event for this great opportunity to meet all of you and show everybody this great ecosystem that we have here. I remind all of you that you can look and you can talk to the startups here. I also remind everyone that Tel Aviv applications are open still until the 20th of December. So happy to see your application either in Tel Aviv or anywhere else in our other 57 programs around the world. So I want to thank everyone on this panel again. This was super exciting, and thank you to the organizers, Anashim V'Machshavim, and thank you everyone, and have a really, really good time investing in Israeli startups. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you all.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.